Today, a look at Springford Country Club in Royersford, Pennsylvania. Springford, right adjacent.
Really, we find our focus to last probably 2 or 3 years, really more towards family. Times have changed a lot as far as people being.
So you're right, you're going downhill, long drive, tough drive to hit the fairway, and then you're faced with like a little uphill second shot to a small.
There's been a lot of criticism at times over how meaningful these things are. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank. Today, a look at Springford Country Club in Royersford, Pennsylvania. Springford, right adjacent to 422, and it's a course that actually opened as a 9-hole course about 90 years ago. And then in the 50s, it was expanded to 18. And a few years ago, noted architect Gil Hands made some subtle improvements to this 18-hole beauty. You're going to see, with the help of host professional Rich Steinmetz, what Springford Country Club looks like today. Sort of a traditional Northeastern and especially Philadelphia area design. So stay tuned, a look at Springford coming up next as Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank, continues. Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank. Susquehanna Bank, doing what counts. By Club Champion, better fit, lower scores. Now open in Ballackinwood. By Southwest Greens, the Pro Knows. And by the Philadelphia Section PGA, experts in the game and business of golf.
Defining a target, realizing a dream. Susquehanna Bank can help you get your plans off the ground. Whether you're sending kids to college or doing something special for yourself. Susquehanna's financial advisors are worth talking to. We can help you find the smartest way to borrow money and save money in the process. Susquehanna Bank, doing what counts for dreamers like you. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank. Aaron Johns is the membership committee chairman here at Springford. And Aaron, you've been a member for what? 9 years. Last couple of years, you've been in charge of membership. Things have really changed a lot just from the time you became a member in terms of trying to attract new members and keeping them happy.
They certainly have. Really, we find our focus to last probably 2 or 3 years, really more towards family. We were just talking earlier, Harry. Times have changed a lot as far as people being able to go out and play golf for 6-7 hours a day every day. So we need to cater a lot more to the family, have a lot more family events. We have a swimming pool, we have a casual and formal dining room, and that really attracts a lot of the younger members with families, and that's really where we need to build our base from today.
I was going to say, because of the economy and the way people's family lifestyles have evolved, you get a lot of young families with kids, and maybe they don't want to play golf, maybe they do, but you have to be prepared to offer them more maybe than just the golf course, right?
We absolutely do, and part of that too is we really, in the economic times we're in, we need to hit a different price point. So we've gotten a lot more creative with regards to different types of memberships. A lot of entry-level memberships where people can get a taste for the club for a year or two without having to shell out a large amount of money, and just get comfortable with the country club lifestyle and kind of bring more families and welcoming into the fold here at Springford Country Club.
I was going to say, when it comes to attracting new members, is there a profile? Like, what are you seeing over the last couple of years? What's your average prospective member like?
I would say our average prospective member is certainly under the age of 40. Married and 2 kids, if I had to classify it. We have a lot of long-term members here who don't fall into that category, but most of the new prospective members seem to fall into that age range, under 40.
And for somebody watching you right now, what's the best way for them to get some information and possibly contact Springford about potential membership?
Well, one of the easiest things to do would be to go to the Inside Golf website at insidegolf.net, and there'll be a link directly to Springford Country Club. You can also go directly to our site at springfordcc.org. And we have a membership tab where you can get all the latest information, phone numbers, emails, addresses of people who can help you out here in the office or myself directly.
I think it's safe to say, Aaron, you're hoping this isn't the last time a lot of people out there see you.
Thank you.
He's got the welcome mat out here at Springford.
Nice ball.
Harry Morton, I love your first name, by the way, Harry. Harry Morton's been a 30-year member here at Springford. Tell me about how things have changed over the past 30 years, say just with the physical plan itself.
Well, for one thing, our golf course has changed over that period of time, and we've changed, added trees, added bunkers, took trees out. But the severity of the course is still there. It's always been there.
You know, I was going to ask you that. Has it changed the actual score, or as far as you're concerned, scoring for you over those 30 years?
For me, yes, because I've played. I mean, I started playing 30 some years ago, actually. When I first joined here, I was a new golfer. And I started out as a high handicapper, and as I progressed through, I'm down to a single digit, so I'm proud of that.
How about the clubhouse, the swimming pool, things like that?
Clubhouse, as you can see, if pans, we have this is a new addition about 1994, 95, we added this on.
Harry, you told me that over the course of 30 years, the actual number of memberships pretty much has stayed the same, although some faces have come and gone.
Over those 30 years, yes. I mean, at one time, we had a waiting list. I'm sure most people had. It's over the years, it's changed. Dues-wise, it's been comparable. I mean, if you look around, we have 4 or 5 other country clubs in the area of us, and we're pretty, comparable to their.
Well, it sounds like 30 years, you're certainly satisfied with Springford Country Club.
A lot of great people I've met over those 30 years. Great group now. We have a lot of good times, a lot of fun. And that's what it's all about, go out and have fun, and hopefully golf games there.
Greg McLaughlin, another member here, 15 years at Springford. You're on the committee, so you have a little clout. You're also chairman of the golf and the tournament committee, which is?
We schedule all of our holiday tournaments, which are 2-day better ball events. You can only play with the same member once over the whole summer. So if you're fortunate enough to win Memorial Day, you can't team up and try and win again.
They're always fun events, though, aren't
Very
they?
Good events, yes.
All handicap.
Handicap, totally. We have one-day member guest events, which are either Callaway system for guests that don't have a USGA handicap, and of course the better ball if you do have a handicap.
And that's a great way for a member to maybe bring out another perspective, or maybe 2 or 3 prospective members to a one-day event, play a great golf course, have some fun, camaraderie, and some great dinner and entertainment.
Right. We also have a really nice program for the ladies. They probably have at least 15 events every summer. So if any ladies that are out there interested in playing Springford or joining, I think they'd have a really good time here.
Well, that's a perfect sequel. I was going to ask you to look right into our camera, into the living rooms and the dens and the family rooms of all those people watching, and wondering, gee, I wonder if Springford would be a place for me. What would you say to them?
Oh, absolutely. My wife and I, she played over 105 rounds last year, making our membership quite worthwhile, obviously. Great social events Friday night, particularly just get together up in the pub, have dinner and cocktails. And then we have mixed couples, 9 and dine Friday night events for guests or mostly members, or you can bring a guest. So it's a really nice social club. Good membership, friendly people.
There it is. There's the sales pitch. Give Greg and the boys here at Springford your time, because I think they're going to like it.
I think you will too.
To the duffers, the hacks, we've been there.
To the 3 and 4 putters, we learned.
And to the Rough Riders and Sandmen, we're ready to teach you.
To everybody out there who thinks they can't play the game, the over 28,000 PGA golf professionals say, we're here to help you discover or rediscover the joys of golf. To you, and you, and you, we're here.
The Philadelphia Section PGA is here to teach you. Play golf, Delaware Valley.
In a crowd of light beers, how long does it take to find the Yingling Light Lager? About that long. 99 calories, 100% authentic lager. Yingling Light Lager. Rethink your light beer.
Welcome back to Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank. We're at Springford Country Club, Royersford, with Rich Steinmetz, host professional. And Rich, before we get into talking about Springford, let's talk about you. You are one of the better players. I don't want to embarrass you now, but you are one of the better players in this section. You've played in a couple PGA championships, Club Pro Professional championships, and already you're almost halfway to making it to Kiowa Island for the 2012 PGA National Championship. All you have to do out of a field of what, 300 golfers in California this summer is make it into the top 20.
Yep.
So this guy can play, folks, huh? How's those experiences been?
They're great. It's a great time. It's a good chance to get around the country, see some of the greater golf resorts in the country, play against some of the best players in the country, and being able to play in 2 PGA championships, that was a thrill.
What is it about Springford that you love?
The golf course is great. The membership's a great group of guys, very down to earth, good group, friendly people, and just this course is just a lot of subtleties of the golf course, and it has a great repeat play value. You never get sick and tired of playing it. So
you're going to give us now a little tour of 3 of your favorite holes here at Springford.
Yes, yeah, holes number 1, 3, and 9 are just some great holes out here.
Let's see what Rich has picked out here with hole number 1. Well, Rich, standing here on the first tee, this is the number 3 handicap hole.
Number 3
altogether.
handicap, yes.
And, like a lot of clubs will have sort of a, hey, welcome to our club first hole, kind of a warm-up hole. Not the case here at Springford, is it? This looks pretty tough.
We pretty much slap you right across the head off the start here. We start off first holes, it's about 470 yards from the back tee, downhill to a sloped fairway, and a long second shot into a guarded green.
Now, I look down from our vantage point here. You see there's a fairway bunker which comes into play automatically off the first tee with the tee ball.
A lot of guys, you want to favor the left side here because the fairway slopes to the right. And then if you miss the fairway just by a little bit, you're in that bunker, which is a very difficult shot to the green.
So if you manage to escape the bunker on the left and your ball rolls maybe right center of this fairway, what do you have in normally as your second shot?
Your average player here has between 200 to 225 yards in.
For a par 4?
For a par 4. The longer hitters can get away, they can get it down to the bottom of the flat down there, and it's about 150, 160 yard shot into the green then, so it makes it a lot easier if you have some distance.
Rich, when we look back at this first hole, here we are standing on the green, but we look back and you can see downhill, a guy like yourself, what would you hit off the tee normally? 3 wood?
Well, normal conditions, probably a driver. If it's downwind and firm, you get some rollouts. You might, hit a 3 wood to avoid going through the fairway into the creek.
Now we talked about, you get that rollout on the tee shot, but automatically second shot uphill, you got maybe 70 feet elevation change from down at the bottom there where the bridge is to this green.
It's a little uphill, not as much as you think, but it does play about a half club longer coming up the hill. So you're right, you're going downhill, long drive, tough drive to hit the fairway, and then you're faced with like a little uphill second shot to a small green.
Here we are on the green, and as you said, not real big. And in this pin placement, you don't want to be left because you got short side, the rough right there. And you also have a little, what would you call that, runoff area?
It's a little
there on the
runoff
right?
collection area, yeah. Yep. It's, so you get over there with the pin on the other side. You can see this green is kind of bowl shaped, so if the pin's on the edge and you miss on the wrong side, you're left with a difficult shot.
Right, and in the back, it's noticeably higher than in the front, so it's obviously from back to front, little bit of a
Most
run
of our
down.
greens are sloped, from back to front pretty severely. So if you get above the hole, it's a difficult shot.
Rich, we skipped number 2. Here we are standing on the tee at number 3. What a beautiful hole.
It's a great hole.
Tell me about it.
It's a medium length par 4, about 380 yards from the back tees here. And it was actually redone a couple years ago. It used to be a dog leg left. The left half of the fairway, as you see it right now, it used to be like a stand of pine trees, and you would go out to the right. The fairway actually extended past those bunkers, and you went around. So we actually had Gil Hance many years ago. He came in when he was first starting out and suggested we move the fairway over to create a little more of a buffer between 3 and 5 and bring the fairway closer to the water.
Well, Rich, if you hook it a little bit, you got the water off the tee to worry about. If you stay to the right and block it out, you got the trees and maybe these fairway bunkers. But if you hit it right in the middle of this wide fairway, you got no problem from, 140, 150 yards where we're looking at.
That's the idea. We're right about 150 to the middle of the green from right here. It's a generous fairway for this golf course, but there's really no room to miss it, like you said.
Now, as I eyeball this green, not one of the bigger greens I've seen, more in keeping with the style of greens here at Springford.
This is a little intimidating look. I mean, this green is actually wider than what it appears here. The back left part of the green is kind of hidden, so all you really see is the front part of the green. It's kind of a kidney-shaped green. It's very sloped from back to front, so if you get above the hole, you got quite a challenge ahead of you.
Well, let's see what that challenge is all about. Let's take a closer look at this number 3 green. Rich, we're standing a little past midway on this 3rd green, and we mentioned how it kind of slopes back to front. Give us an idea of what kind of slope we're talking about. I know you got a little prop there.
I got a little prop for us here. So, I mean, this is actually, we're going back into the wind here, but it's still going to be very quick going down this slope. So you can see that's going down the hill there.
That looks like one of my putts.
Yeah. And
what am I going to have coming back?
That just keeps on going, and that's even with the wind kind of holding it back a little bit. So
right.
Normally that ball would have been going off the green about 4 or 5 feet without the wind. But
and maybe if your mowers are shaving a little more during the summertime.
This time of year, our greens are running
speed.
very slick, much to people's chagrin. I mean, this course is tough when the greens are running fast. They've been running about 11 this spring, so that makes it very difficult with the slope that we have.
Sounds fast enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Rich, we've arrived at number 9, and nice way to finish the opening front here. We got a par 5, it goes about 530 yards. And the last 150, 180 are dead uphill to that clubhouse.
Actually, it's the whole, pretty much from the end of this fairway to the green is about 240 yards. So that last 240 yards is up a steep slope. So plays very long.
Handicap hole on number 7?
Number 7 handicap hole, yep.
Okay, and 530 on the paper, but it probably plays closer to 630 sometimes.
It plays close to 600, I mean, plays about 560, 570, yeah. Especially with the prevailing wind, which is always in your face.
Now the tee shot, you got water down there. Is there a hazard at the end of the fairway? So does that come into play off the tee shot?
With this kind of wind, no, but normally it's about 290 yards at the end of the fairway from right here. So it can come into play. You can kind of see the top of the bridge right there. So there, you can see that hazard. And then past the creek, there's a steep embankment, which is kind of gets your attention when you're hitting your second shot from down there. You got to get up over that.
So you hit driver here off the tee?
Typically, yes.
And 9 times out of 10, you're putting for eagle?
No, I wish. I think of all my years, I've been on this green once in 2 shots. So.
Really?
Yeah.
A player of your greatness.
Been around the green many times, but as you'll see when we get up there, it's a very narrow green, so it's a tough target to hit.
Wow, you learn something new every day. Rich, assuming we hit it straight and long and reached almost to the end of this fairway, what do we have here looking up at that? We can just see the top of the flagstick.
Yeah, well, where the camera is right now, it's about actual yards, about 260 to the middle of the green. And of course today, as you can see by the American flag whipping up there in our face, it's into the wind, uphill. It's probably playing close to 300 yards from right here.
So it's everything you can take out of your bag to get it up there and try to get it close.
That's for sure. Try to get up there in the fairway somewhere and then get something on the green, hopefully.
And then when we're up there, we'll see it's a false front.
Little false front to the green, and it's a very narrow, kind of a long green, and again, sloped pretty severely from back to front.
Well, here we are high atop the 18th hole on the green, and there's that little false front that you talked about, Rich. So pretty tough from down at the bottom if you get a good shot to run it on at this green.
Yeah, it's going to come up here, and if it gets up, it's to the top here, it's just going to roll right back off the green. So you're left with a difficult shot.
We've looked at 3 holes here, Rich. All 3 of them have the slope from back to front, and this is no different. And this may be one of the bigger holes that we've seen here today.
Bigger greens, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the longest greens on the course. It's you from the front to the back, you got about a 70 or 80 foot putt if you get one into the other. But it's well bunkered on the left. It falls off to the right, and it's a very narrow green, so it's a very difficult shot coming in here. Especially when you're always coming into the wind. It's an intimidating shot.
You know what else I like about it? It has almost a stadium style atmosphere,
right?
Because I'm sure when you have some members tournaments or those invitationals, a lot of people can finish up, come out, and be spectators and have a great view of what's going on here at number 18.
For our bigger events, we'll have some contests out here, either a little, 100 yards in or a putting contest. And we usually do it right here. Everybody come out in the deck and kind of watch and heckle the guys that are out here. So it's a lot
no
of fun.
heckling allowed on the golf course, is there?
Yeah.
Hey, Rich, thanks for your tour. It's been a pleasure again to come out here, relive some of my pleasant memories at Springford. And don't go anywhere because she's coming right back, folks. Rich Steinmetz is going to join us. We're going to go to the Tilted Kilt. Our next edition of Teed Off is next on Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank.
Early mornings, late nights, and way too many takeout dinners. Running a business takes energy, determination, and sacrifice. And whether you're a startup, well-established, or somewhere in between, the people of Susquehanna Bank have the knowledge to help you succeed. From cash management solutions to the benefits of local loan decisions, we help keep your business moving ahead. Susquehanna Bank, doing what counts for businesses like yours. Member FDIC.
Guests of Inside Golf enjoy dining at Sin Sin, the popular Asian fusion restaurant located on Germantown Avenue in the heart of scenic Chestnut Hill.
And now it's time for Teed Off, brought to you by Yingling, America's oldest brewery.
Players understand what goes into the world ranking.
Welcome back. Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank, continues with our Teed Off segment. We're at the Tilted Kilt, Route 202 in King of Prussia, adjacent to the mall, where they have 50 flat screen TVs, great luncheon items, specials every day. The Tilted Kilt in King of Prussia. Our panel today includes Ken Dunnick. Ken is a former member of Philadelphia Eagles back in the day and the Philadelphia Stars of the USFL. Right now he's busy with Jersey Man magazine. He's the publisher. Rich Steinmetz. Rich, of course, just left us over at Springford Country Club, where we had our nice feature with Rich talking about Springford, and he's played in 2 majors, and he's trying to make it a 3rd this year. And Tony Leodora, no stranger to Teed Off. Tony, every Saturday morning, hosts Golf Talk Live on WNTP Radio. Let me begin with you, Rich, talking about the World Golf Rankings. There's been a lot of criticism at times over how meaningful these things are. A couple Ivy League professors took it upon themselves to look at the ranking system, and they have pretty much concluded that the thing is kind of out of whack someplace, that you get more credit maybe for finishing 4th in a tournament in Japan, where the field may not be as strong and competitive as finishing 4th not only in a tour event, but maybe in a World Golf Championship. Your feelings on the World Golf Rankings?
Well, they're 2 great points. I mean, there's, I think, maybe 6 or 7 tours around the world that they cover with the World Golf Rankings, and I'm not sure what the weighting scale is, but you definitely need to weight the major tours, you know, the US PGA Tour and then the European PGA Tour, the highest. I mean, you know, like you said, giving points to some guy in, I don't know, you know, some obscure tour somewhere else over another, you know, I don't know what they get here, but that's a little off. And then also, it seems like the more recent events are weighted too heavily as opposed to the ones a year down the road. I think that's the main thing they found out is, I think they're using Sean O'Hare as an example, a local Philly guy. He won a tournament, they won at Quail Hollow. And they said it would almost made more sense for him to skip that event this year. It hurt him more playing in it and not doing well than it did, you know, if he just skipped it. So right there, that's kind of a red flag that something's wrong with the system.
Tony, your thought, is this too much of an American, like typical American whiners, that more emphasis should go on what happens in the continental U.S.?
Well, first off, you know you're in trouble when you start putting things in the hands of the Ivy League professors. Because whatever they're thinking in those ivory towers is so twisted and so far from reality, they are not going to have the right view on it. You know, secondly, I don't know that it really matters that much. You know, the rankings are the rankings. You know, he talked to Ken a little bit about it. You know, was he thinking about where he was ranked as a tight end in football when he was playing? He didn't care. Go out and settle it on the field. Let them go settle it. And, you know, finally, I know one club in the area that changed their the rating of their holes, the handicapping of the holes, because one of their members was a statistical genius from somewhere, and he ran everything through these computers, and every single person that plays the 18th hole at that club comes up there and goes, how can this hole be the number 6 handicap? It's a joke. So, you know, they lack common sense.
Well, Ken, you played college football and basketball at Memphis back in, what, the late 70s, mid-70s?
Which was the Ivy League of the South.
Which
Memphis,
was the
right?
Ivy League of the
Very
South.
high academic standards
Absolutely.
at the University of Memphis. Yeah.
But keeping it on point there, the rankings that come out for both college football and basketball, they're constantly being, you know, critiqued by a lot of people. There's the writer's version and the coach's version. And never the two are always the same. But what about is there too much emphasis placed on rankings in professional golf, do you think? I mean, they have to have some system.
Well, when it comes to football and basketball, it's everybody's opinion. You know, it just, you know, people are voting as to whom they think are the best. When it comes to golf, I'm not even sure from the interviews that I've heard that the players understand what goes into the world ranking. So, and if it can be manipulated, like Rich said, by sitting out, then the system is probably broken and something has to change.
Right. You know, we talked about, is this an American thing? And here in America, everything is, it seems, based on rankings and standings and things like that. But part of the problem, do you think, is the fact At one time, I think, in the top 10 world golf rankings, there was maybe just one U.S. guy, and he was probably down around 8 or 9. You think that went into some of the criticisms?
It's crazy. We've come to it now. Nowadays, with the majors and the World Golf Championships, they're all reliant on the rankings. So they got to figure out some better way to rank these players so it's fair for them to get in. Because I think the Masters takes the top 60 or something like that. Is it 60? I think for the Masters. Yeah, and then the World Golf Championship, same thing. Top 64 for the match
play. So there's
a
lot at stake.
So there's a lot at stake. So they got to get it straightened out, whatever they do. So
right.
Yeah.
So, it's always up for debate. I guess if anything, it keeps golf, whether you're talking about who's number 1 or who's number 50 or 60 to get into certain events. At least it's something to talk about, other than, boy, did you see that putt that guy missed, or did you see that guy hit it out of bounds?
Might be something to talk about on a rainy day.
On a rainy day?
When there's a play stoppage during the event on TV or whatever. But other than that, it just doesn't push my button.
Doesn't push your button.
No.
I'm sure it pushes the button, though, when it comes to agents, and they're trying to get certain deals for endorsement for their clients.
Right.
That has to come into play. My
Sure.
guy, you look at a guy that's been ranked number 1 off and on over the past, year and a half or something like that, Luke Donald, and hasn't won a major, right? I don't even know how many tournaments he's won, and yet he's been ranked number 1. Now that automatically throws up a red flag, doesn't it?
We don't have a number 1 right now. We have 10 people vying for number 1.
10 potentials.
We don't have a number 1 in the world right now, and I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that. All right, if you're okay with it, Tony, we're okay with it, right, Rich? Kenny?
Goodbye,
The man
Nate.
has spoken. That's going to do it for this week's edition of Teed Off and Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, my name's Mandy, and I work at the Tilted Kilt in King of Prussia. Come check out our bar where every hour is a happy hour and where we have over 50 flat-screen TVs.
The Tilted Kilt Pub and Eatery. Great food, cold beer, and lots of varieties. A Celtic pub with amazing atmosphere, fantastic sports entertainment, and most of all, beautiful cast members.
Come see us.
It's time light beer got some character. 99 calories, 100% authentic lager. Yingling Light Lager from America's oldest brewery. Rethink your light beer.
For more golf course tours, swing tips, and deals on greens fees, check out the new teeitupphilly.com. That's going to do it for this week's edition of Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank. I want to thank host professional Rich Steinmetz and the folks here at Springford. And for more on Springford Country Club, you can go to our website, InsideGolf.net. Remember, no matter how bad it's going for you, don't pick up. We'll see you next time on Inside Golf. Inside Golf, presented by Susquehanna Bank. Susquehanna Bank, doing what counts. By Club Champion, better fit, lower scores. Now open in Ballackinwood. By Southwest Greens, the Pro Knows. And by the Philadelphia Section PGA, experts in the game and business of golf.